Hi, this is Javin Kharod, a production chemical engineer by profession, going to continue our today's topic LPG means liquefied petroleum gas. Now, straight liquefied petroleum gas LPG, LP gas or condensate is a flammable mixture of hydrocarbon gases, most commonly propane, butane and propylene. However, the latter two typically compose 5% or less of the mixture. LPG is gas made of petrol. Now, LPG is used as a fuel gas in heating appliances, the cooking equipment and vehicle. It is increasingly used the aerosol propellant in a refrigerant, replacing chlorofluorocarbon in an effort to reduce damage to the ozone layer. When specially used as a vehicle fuel, it is often referred to as autogas. Variety LPG, they are broad and solid include mixes. They are mostly propane, mostly butane and most commonly mixes including both propane and butane, propylene, butylene and various other hydrocarbons. They are usually also present in small concentration such as ethane, propane, HD5 limit, the amount of propylene that can be placed LPG to 5% and utilize autogas specification. A powerful odorant ethanol ion is added so that leak can be detected easily. The internationally recognized LPG is prepared by refining petroleum or wet natural gas and it is almost entirely derived from fossil fuel sources being manufactured during refining the petroleum, crude oil or extracted from petroleum or natural gas stream as they emerge from the ground. First commercial product appeared in 1912. It currently provides about 3% of all energy consumed and burned relatively cleanly with no soot and very few sulfur emissions. As it in a gas, it does not pose ground or water pollution hazard, but it can cause air pollution. Liquefied petroleum gas has typical specific calorific value 46.1 megajoule per kg compared with 42.5 megajoule per kg of fuel oil and 43.5 megajoule per kg for premium grade petrol gasoline. However, its energy density per volume unit of 26 megajoule per liter is lower than either that the petrol or fuel oil as its relative density is lower 0.5 to 0.58 kg per liter compared to 0.71 to 0.77 kg per liter for gasoline. As the density and vapor pressure of LPG or its component significantly change with temperature, this fact must be considered every time when the application is connect with safety custody transfer operation. Example, typical cutoff level option for LPG reservoir is 85%. Now, besides using the energy carrier, the LPG also promising feedstock in the chemical industry for the synthesis of olefin such as ethylene, propylene, butane as well as acrylic acid. As its boiling point is below room temperature and heat, LPG will evaporate quickly at normal temperature and pressure and is usually supplied in pressurized steel vessel. They are typically filled 80 to 85% of their capacity to allow for thermal expansion of the contaminant liquid. The ratio between the volume of vaporized gas and liquefied gas varies depending on composition, pressure and temperature but is typically around 250 Gem1. The pressure at which liquefied petroleum gas becomes liquid called is vapor pressure likewise varies depending on composition and temperature. For example, approximate 220 kilopascal means 32 psi for pressure butane the 20 degree centigrade 68 degree Fahrenheit and approximate 2200 kilopascal 320 psi for pure propane the 55 degree centigrade means 131 degree Fahrenheit. The LPG is heavier than air unlike natural gas and those will flow along floor and tend to settle in low spot such basement. There are two main dangers to this. The first is possible the explosion if the mixture of LPG and air is within the explosive limit. There is an ignition sources. The second is suffocation due to LPG displacing air, causing a decrease in oxygen concentration. The full of LPG cylinder contain 86% liquid. The algae volume will contain vapor at a pressure that varies with temperature. Now, its uses. LPG has very wide variety uses, mainly use cylinder across many different markets as an efficient fuel container in the agriculture, recreation, hospitality, industrial construction, sailing, fishing sector. It can serve the fuel for cooking, central heating and to water heating and is particularly cost effective and efficient way to heat off-grid homes. In India, nearly 8.9 million ton LPG were consumed in the 6 months between April and September 2021 in the domestic sector, mainly for cooking. The number of domestic connections 215 million, one connection for every 6 people with a circulation of more than 350 million LPG cylinder. Most of the LPG requirement is important. Pipe city, the gas supply in the India is not yet developed on a major scale. LPG can be used as a power sources for combined heat and power technology. The combined heat and power technology is the process that generating both electric power and useful heat from single fuel sources. This technology has allowed LPG to be used not just as a fuel for heating and cooking but also decentralized generation of electricity. LPG can be stored variety of manner. LPG, as with other fossil fuel, can be combined with renewable power sources to provide the greater reliability while still achieving some of reduction in CO2 emission. However, opposed to wind and solar renewable energy sources, LPG can be used the stand-alone energy sources without the prohibitive expense. The electric energy storage in many climate renewable sources such as solar and wind power would still require the construction, installation, maintenance, reliable baseload power sources such as LPG, fuel-led generation to provide electric power during the entire year. 100% wind oblique solar is possible. Now, two recent studies have examined LPG, fuel oil, fuel mixes and found that the smoke emission and fuel consumption they are reduced but hydrocarbon emission they are increased. The study were split on carbon monoxide emission with one finding significant increases in the other finding slight increases at lower engine load but a considerable decreases at high engine load. Its advantage is that it is non-toxic, non-corrosive and free tetraethylate or any additive and has a high octane rating. It burns more cleanly than petrol or fuel oil and specially free of particulate present in the latter. Not all automobile engines are suitable for use with LPG as a fuel. LPG provides less upper cylinder lubrication than petrol or diesel. So LPG fuel engine they are more prone to valve wear if they are not suitably modified. Many modern common rail diesel engine respond well. The LPG use supplementary fuel. This is the where LPG is used fuel as well as diesel system. They are now available that integrate with engine management system. LPG can converted into alkylate which is premium gasoline blending stock because it has exceptional anti-knock property and give clean burning. Now, LPG instrumental in provide off the grid refrigeration usually by means of a gas absorption refrigerator. The blended of pure dry propane and isobutane and blend R290A has negligible ozone depletion potential and very very lower global warming potential and can serve the functional replacement R12, R22, R134A and other chlorofluorocarbon or hydrochlorofluorocarbon refrigerant in conventional stationary refrigeration and air conditioning system. Such substitution is widely prohibited, discouraged in major vehicle air conditioning system on the ground take using flammable hydrocarbon in system originally designed to carry non-flammable refrigerant present a significant risk of fire or explosion. Now comparison with natural gas. LPG is composed mainly to propane and butane while natural gas is composed of the lighter methane and ethane. The LPG vaporized and atmospheric pressure has a high calorific value 46 megajoule per meter cube equivalent to 12.8 kilowatt hour per meter cube than natural gas methane 38 megajoule per meter cube equivalent 10.6 kilowatt hour per meter cube while means LPG cannot simply substituted for natural gas in order to allow the use same burner control and to provide similar combustion characteristic. LPG can be mixed with air to produce synthetic natural gas that can be easily substituted. LPG oblique air mixing ratio average 60 to 40 through this is widely variable based on the gas making of the LPG. The method for determining mixing ratio is by calculating the Wobe index of the mix. The gas having the same Wobe index, they are held to be interchangeable. Now, its environmental effect. The commercial available LPG is currently derived mainly from fossil fuel. Burning LPG releases carbon dioxide, greenhouse gas. A reaction also produces some of carbon monoxide. LPG does however release less CO2 per unit of energy than does coal or oil, but more than natural gas. It emits 81% of the CO2 per kilowatt hour produced by oil, 70% of that coal, and less than 50% of that emitted by coal generated electricity distributed via the grid. Being a mixed propane and butane, LPG emits less carbon per joule than butane but more carbon per joule than propane. Now, LPG burns more cleanly than higher molecular weight hydrocarbon because it releases fewer particulates. Now, its fire explosion risk and mitigations. In a refinery or gas plant, LPG must be stored in a pressure vessel. These containers are either cylindrical and horizontal or spherical. Typical, these vessels are designed and manufactured according to some of code in the United States. This code is governed by American Society of Mechanical Engineers. LPG containers have pressure relief valve such that when subjected to exterior heating sources, they will vent LPG to the atmosphere or a flare stack. If a tank is subjected to fire or sufficient duration and intensity, it can undergo a boiling liquid expanding vapor explosion. This is typical concern for the large refinery and petrochemical plant that maintain very large container. In general, tanks are designed so that the product will vent faster than the pressure can build to dangerous level. One remedy that is utilized in industrial setting is to equip such container with a missile to provide fire resisting rating. Large spherical LPG container may have up to 15 cm steel wall thickness. They are equipped with approved pressure relief valve. A large fire in vicinity of the vessel will increase its temperature and pressure. The relief valve on the top is designed to vent off excess pressure in order to prevent the rupture of the container itself. Give a fire of sufficient duration and intensity. The pressure being generated by boiling and expanding gas can exceed the ability to valve to vent the excess. Alternatively, if due to continue venting, the liquid level drop below the area being heated and tank structure can be overheated and subsequently weakened in that area. The either occur, the container may rupture violently, launching pieces of the vessel at high velocity, while the released product can ignite as well, potentially causing catastrophic damage to anything nearby, including other container. People can expose to LPG in a workplace by breathing it in skin contact and eye contact. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration has set the large legal limit, the permissible exposure limit for LPG, the exposure in the workplace as 1000 ppm means 1800 milligram per meter cube over 8-hour workday. The National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health has set a recommended exposure limit 1000 ppm over 8-hour workday at level of 2000 ppm. 10% of the lower explosive limit, LPG is considered immediate dangerous to life and health due to solely the safety consideration pertaining to risk of explosion. Now, its advantage and disadvantage. Advantage. It is non-toxic, non-corrosive in nature. It burns cleanly and has high octane rating, more than 100 RON. Research octane number. LPG engine have less knocking vibration. It does not produce harmful emissions like carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxide, and high hydrocarbons. The major disadvantage of LPG is that reduction in the life of engine and less power compared to gasoline. The other disadvantage of LPG is special fuel feed system is required for liquid petroleum gas. Now, summary. The liquefied petroleum gas is blend of light hydrocarbon compound. It mainly consists butane, propane, or a mixture of both. At room temperature, both gases are colorless and odorless. Propane has its boiling point -42 degrees centigrade and butane at -0.5 degrees centigrade. Under modest pressure or in cooler condition, the LPG transforms into a liquid state. LPG in domestic cylinder used to cooking generally comprises more butane than the propane because of fuel value per kilogram of butane is higher than propane and is liquefied under much lower pressure and propane and thus handling is safer. National and international standard specify the minimum contact, the butane and maximum LPG vapor pressure when liquefied under pressure. The volume of butane and propane is reduces around 1/260 of the gaseous aggregate state. The specific calorific value of LPG is around 46 megajoule per kg or 12.78 kilowatt hour per kg depending on comprises of LPG. The comparison wood has energy content the range 14 to 18 megajoule per kg or 3.89 to 5 kilowatt hour per kg depending on type of food and moisture contact, and charcoal in range 27 to 33 megajoule per kg 7.5 to 8.34 kilowatt per hour kg depending on type of charcoal. If made available as cooking energy fuel, it would help to reduce the use of wood and biomass in household in developing countries. Liquefied gas is heavier than air and can therefore accumulate above the ground. This may lead LPG leaks. It is common practice to add in foul-smelling odorant to the gas in order to detect leak and reduce the risk of explosion. LPG is non-toxic but highly flammable. Therefore, LPG has to handle with care all the equipment and appliances used to store transport. The gas must comply with high safety standards. They have to maintain and regular inspected trading with LPG normally subject the government safety regulation and corresponding enforcement to prevent fire and explosion accident. Most consumption the LPG occur the household level 49% follow the LPG as feedstock the petrochemical industries and other industrial uses. Direct consumption the refinery. Finally agriculture sector to make 2% global consumption. Other sector auto gas added up the aggregate 9.3% of total consumption. LPG is used for following purposes. heating and cooking, especially they are not connected to local gas distribution system. Auto gas, consumption of auto gas enhanced through lower taxes. In 2008, more than 13 million cars ran on LPG globally. Industrial are currently promoting the spread of the car gas. Furthermore, LPG is used to cooling and petrochemical industries. The petrochemical industries uses LPG mainly as feedstock for intents in the production of plastic in poor developing country. LPG is almost exclusively used the cooking fuel. The users are predominantly middle to high income household in region with a supply network mostly urban and pre-urban area. Okay guys, this is up to LPG in a very brief manner. I hope you get sufficient knowledge. I advise you to follow my channel and gain sufficient knowledge. Still then, goodbye. Wish you a nice weekend. Have a good day.